Okay, well, if there's no request, you guys, especially if you're doing the series, feel free to be like, I want to do this pose, or I want to work on this. I'd love to be able to give you like what you're looking for. So my idea for these next 4 weeks, and one thing I do like about like adapting to COVID life is doing kind of these like 4-week chunks and then deciding like, what do I want my next 4 weeks to look like? So these 4 weeks, I want to focus on resilience. I've been reading a lot of stuff from Dr. Rick Hanson, who's really great. He wrote the book Hardwiring Happiness and Resilient, and he came out with this technique that helps us become more happy and help to, like, he calls it positive neuroplasticity. So like helping anchor in the positive neuron interactions in our brain. Because from a like evolutionary point of view, we needed to pay attention to what was bad, and what scared us, and we needed to remember those things more. So when we were like cavemen, we're like, oh yeah, bear lives in that part of the forest, don't go there because that's bad, you know. And so we still have that, even though we're not like at such like a risk of getting hurt from bears roaming the street, but yet our brain still holds on to those negative experiences and remembers those more. So it was Rick Hanson, who I reference a lot when I say there's like the Teflon and we put the good things there and they just slide away, but the bad things we put on Velcro and we remember them forever. So I've been talking to this a lot with Sage because he's been having like some mood challenges lately, and he'll be like, my whole week was awful, this whole year has been awful, you know, and he only remembers the negative. So now I've challenged him after school when we eat, I want to hear all the good things that happened to him during the day, and he can normally remember like one, and then I'll be like, but what about when you had that yummy sandwich, or when we played cards, or and like I can remind him these things, and he's like, oh yeah, that was good. And it's this like retraining and framing of our brain so that we can start to hold on to the good things. So he has this technique, it's called HEAL. So it's have a positive experience, learn to expand that experience, absorb that experience, and then link that experience. So we'll be kind of working through those as we move through our practice. So we will begin. So take an upright seated posture. Your eyes closed. And just begin to become more aware of what's present for you. Notice if there's any sensations or thoughts kind of screaming at you to notice them. See if you can acknowledge them without becoming attached to them. And then with that same non-judgmental awareness, we'll work through the layers of our body. So scanning through the physical body and noticing if anything stands out, without labeling it good or bad, because that's that positive neuroplasticity, as we notice the bad and we remember it. So just like, oh, that's interesting, my foot hurts, and moving on. And then noticing the way the energy is moving through your body. So the movement of the breath, the prana. And noticing the energy in the mind, if it feels fast or slow. And noticing the sensations or emotions present in the heart space. And noticing if you can be aware of the emotion without fusing to it. And then noticing the wisdom in your body, how connected you feel to this like sense of knowing. These last two layers I think are the hardest. Well, if it feels hard or you can't connect to it, that's what you notice. And then this last one, the Ananda Kosha, is tapping into this layer of bliss that's always present within you. And some days it can be easy to feel, and some days it can feel like it's not there, but it's just this practice of being aware. And really nice, and bring your hands in front of your heart, rub your hands together, create a little bit of heat. And press the palms firmly together, thumbs into the sternum, shoulders up, back, and down. Feeling this posture. Maybe noticing if an intention feels like it's coming up for you today. And we're going to chant the Anusara invocation 3 times, followed by 1 Om. And I think I've been chanting it a little bit quicker than I used to. We'll see. It's been a while since I've sang this for anyone. So take a full breath in. Hold and lengthen the breath. And then exhale through the mouth. And then we'll begin after this next inhale. Inhale deep. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachitananda Murtaye Nish Prapanchaya Shantaye Niralambaya Tejase Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachitananda Murtaye Nish Prapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachitananda Murtaye Nish Prapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Inhale deep. Hold the breath, lengthen through the spine. And exhale, relax, sit still. But keeping your eyes closed, the first part of this heal program is to have a positive experience, or to notice when you're having a positive experience or when you're feeling satisfied. So scan through the body for a moment and notice if there's anything that feels good or positive. You might notice that the mind's natural tendency is to notice what doesn't feel good. And see if you can find something that feels pleasurable or positive. And if you can't, see if you can reflect on the past hour. Maybe it was drinking your coffee that you felt satisfied, and see if you can stay with that experience for just a little bit longer than you normally do. Really nice. And then allow your eyes to open. That's what we're going to be working with today as we move through this practice. That's just going to be kind of like an open practice of moving through standing poses. But I want you to see if your awareness can notice the small details. Oh, it feels good when I push through my foot, or oh, it feels good when I breathe into my back. And instead of having the thought be really fleeting and then go, see if you can stay with it for 4 or 5 or 10 seconds. So just lengthening it a little bit without becoming hyper focused on needing to find all the good. And I also think it's important, or I've been working with, is if I notice the good, it doesn't mean I'm pushing away the bad. So I could have things come up that I don't like, and it's not like, oh, I can't think of those things, or I can't notice those things, or I can't have bad experiences. It's just trying to shift. And also there's good experiences happening, and I can pay a little bit more attention to that. Okay, let's start standing. Oh, I lied. Stay seated. Move a cushion if you have a cushion. Put your fingertips behind your back and lift your chest up, feet flexed. Push your heels down and drag your heels towards your bums to help rock you towards the front side of your sitting bones. And then keeping the toes and knees facing the same direction, we're going to start to windshield wiper out the legs. Taking the knees to the right and then the left. I really like starting out with this because you get like a little glute massage, you get some gentle twisting going on, and you can start to coordinate the legs to move in the same direction, bringing more articulation to the hip joint. When your knees flop over to one side, push the opposite knee forward, so extending more out through that quad. Then continuing to move the legs, now focus on the upper body. See if you can create more expansion through the chest, maybe squeezing the fingertips isometrically towards each other as you broaden the shoulders and elbows away from each other. Really nice, and then let's all go to the left side together. So both knees to the left, and then take your right hand over to the left and do a little push up and bow your forehead to the floor. And then come back through center, hand comes to the floor, and then both knees to the right. Left hand comes over, I might have set that backwards, and do your little push up. And then continue with that. So the knees go, the hand comes with it, and bow. If you have any questions, you can unmute and ask. Right, and then the next time the knees come to the right, stay there. So the knees are on the right, you're doing a little bit of a push-up. And now stretch your left hand towards the back of the yoga mat. I like to be up on my fingertips and walk my fingertips as far to the back as I can while dragging the sit bones back, so you're getting a nice lengthening stretch through the left side of the body. And then we'll do that in the other direction. So knees come to the left. Right hand comes and the right hand stretches away. Sit bones drag back, belly in. Try to lengthen the rib cage away from the pelvis. And then inhale, come back through center. Nice, and now we'll come all the way up to standing. Shake out the body. Get some movement. And then come to stand at the top of your mat, hands in front of your heart, eyes closed. Coming back to your intention, or this kind of group intention of bringing more awareness for this next 75 minutes to the positive experiences that are happening, but we often overlook. As you inhale, stretch your arms up to the sky, full stretch. Exhale, forward fold, little bend in the knees. Inhale, lengthen the spine forward, shoulders out of the neck. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Okay, it's pushing through the fingertips and the knuckle ridges. Push down into your hands and feel your hips draw up and back, and then stretching down through the feet. Maybe bicycling out the legs. Then as you inhale, come forward to plank, belly in. Knees can come up or lower, and then the whole body lowers down, chaturanga. Nice, slow and controlled. Point the tops of the feet to the floor. Inhale, lengthen and curl cobra. Push into your hands and drag your hands to the back of the yoga mat to try to pull your low belly forward to not compress the spine. And then press back, downward facing dog. Really nice. So you can stay here if you don't want to do this next thing, but I've been really enjoying this. So take your feet a little bit wider than hip distance. Put a little bend in your legs. This is like windshield wipers and downward facing dog. So take both of your heels to the right. So you're on the pinky edge of your right foot and the inner edge of your left foot. Knees are bent, and then come back through center and then take both of your heels to the left, toes to the right. Just moving back and forth, knees moving with the toes, stretching the hips away from the toes, getting that twisting action. Nice, and then bringing yourself back through center. Look forward, bend your knees, and then step or float your feet, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana, long spine. Exhale, fold. Push through your feet, come all the way up and stretch. Exhale, hands through heart center. Pausing here for a moment, reflect without engaging the thinking mind too much, which is challenging. Like what felt good in that last sequence, and see if you can stay with that. That felt nice sensation just a little bit longer than normal. And then inhale, stretch your arms up. Ribs reach away from the pelvis. Exhale, keep your length, bow forward, belly in. Inhale, grow the spine long. Push your hands into your thighs, chin slightly tucked. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank. Hold plank and feel your strength. Belly in, shoulders together. And then slowly lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, lengthen and curl. Exhale, downward facing dog. Feet a little bit wide, bend in your knees, and then begin that heel swivel again. So both heels to the right, knees bend to the left. Come through center, heels to the left, toes to the right. So you can stick with that, or as the heels go to, let's say, the right, you can bend your knees so much you can touch your outer right hip to the floor, and I often lift up my left hand. But the right arm stays strong and straight. So straight, come look at the screen really quick so you can see me do it. Okay, so I'm gonna bend my knees, swivel my heels to the feet, and then this arm is straight like a side arm balance, and I lower my hip. Heels to the left, lower my hip. Does that make sense? Okay. So I want to make sure as you do it that you're not doing anything that feels weird in the joints. This should feel like a functional movement. This is really good at strengthening the muscles around the rotator cuff, the shoulder. And then come back, downward facing dog. Integrate your shoulders, push and lengthen and breathe, and scan through your experience and find something that feels good. Maybe it's that you don't have kids in your room right now. And then inhale, look forward, soften the knees, and then step or hop, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold. Push through your feet, come all the way up and stretch. Exhale, hands through heart center. Eyes closed, feel your breath. And then one more. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank. Arms are straight, push through your hands, belly in. And then lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Okay, bring your knees down one more time and look forward. We're gonna build onto that little swivel. And this is optional. You could either just stay in down dog or you could do one of these other ones. So it's either swiveling the feet. So maybe I'll turn sideways. Swiveling the feet. Or as you swivel the feet, the hip touches. Or as you go to drop the hip, the foot that's in the back comes forward and up. I've been thinking of this as like a downward facing dog cha-cha or Macarena. The arms stay straight. Do, 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 do. It's kind of fun. And it's fun how my shoulders always get really sore after this. Like I use muscles I normally don't. So other legless, I think, unless do it one more time. So it's the back leg, not the front leg. So the direction that your butt is going, that's the leg that lifts. Yeah, Melissa, I just see an arm, Gina, but that looks right. Oh yeah, there you go. Nice, isn't it fun? You can sing the Macarena song if you'd like. Gina looks like a dancer. Okay, really nice, downward facing dog. Bend your knees to the floor, sit back, child's pose. And then walk your hands up into a sitting pose, either on your shins or cross-legged. We're going to do a little pranayama practice where you inhale through the nose deeply, and then you exhale and you blow the air out through kind of your puckered lips. So inhaling. You can do whatever speed feels good to you. And as you're exhaling and blowing the air out through your lips, imagine that you're letting go of this binding, like gorilla glue to our challenges and this pain and the suffering. And inhale deep. Exhale all the air out. And this time we're going to hold the air out. So with all the air blown out, lengthen through the spine. And when you're ready, soften and relax. And just notice
You know, where in you, body, mind, heart, spirit, breath, energy, where does it feel satisfied? And can you allow yourself to be with your own satisfaction? Oh, nice. Downward facing dog.
Something I've always noticed in my own practice is I'll do all of this work, all these meditation, and then after meditation, it's like, oh, that's so good. I made it. And it's like, okay, I'm done. Instead of like staying with what I was trying to get to all practice. Okay, from here, as you inhale, stretch your right leg up to the sky. As you exhale, step your right foot forward between your hands. Before you come up to lunge, practice pushing through both feet. So with your right knee over your ankle, push through your right foot. And with your left heel slightly behind the left ball of the foot, push through your left foot. And then from that pressure and stability, lift your hands and come up into your lunge. Stretch your arms up. Nice. Stay there and breathe. Normally I teach downstairs in my little yoga studio, but Ty's taken over that area, so I'm in my bedroom. I didn't realize that would mean I'd have the dogs too, so sorry if they're a distraction. Okay, and then take your hands to your hips. You might need to widen your legs depending on how short your stance is. And then we're gonna lower the back knee to the floor. I like to spread this stance out a little bit here, so step your front foot a little bit more forward for Anjaneyasana. And before you reach the arms up, just like what we did in the lunge, push through your front foot a lot and also push through your back knee a lot. And then stretch the arms up. As you exhale, plant your hands, step back, either move through a vinyasa or downward facing dog. And then inhale, left leg up to the sky. Step your left foot forward between your hands. Actively pushing through the front and the back foot. Come all the way up. All right, take your hands down to your hip. Maybe widen your stance if you need to. Lower the right knee down to the floor, or a cushion, or a blanket. I have a rug under here, or I'd probably be using a cushion. Maybe step the left foot a little bit deeper. And again, pushing through front and back, reach the arms up. Well, notice where you feel the biggest stretch in the pose. Depending on where you're tight, it will be in different places. Also notice where is creating the most heat through your muscular effort, and strengthening our ability to be aware. Really nice. Plant your hands, downward facing dog or vinyasa. Inhale, right leg up to the sky. This time, open your right hip to the right. And then exhale, step the right foot forward between your hands. Back leg stays straight. Inhale, arms up, lunge. And open your arms up like a cactus. Shoulders integrated and draw down, belly in. Keep both of your hips facing forward and then turn your chest to the right. And then turn your chest back to center. Hips stay forward, turn your chest to the left. So you won't be able to turn your chest much if you don't allow your hips to move. And just moving back and forth. So this is kind of like windshield wipers of the upper body. And the next time you come to the right, stay there. Bring your hands together in prayer pose and then hinge forward, left elbow hooks over outer right knee. It can be a lot easier to push through the front foot, so first do that, but also see if you can activate more power through the back leg and lengthen out through the crown of your head. Deep breaths, breathing all the way down into the low back, up through the collarbones and throat. Take your right hand to your right hip. Bring your left hand to the floor and wide, fingertips are blocked. High runner's lunge twist. Right arm extends up. Imagine there was like a big ball, big beach volleyball or something that you could roll over open onto your shoulders with. Really nice. Lower your back knee down to the floor. And then still stay in this twist, this open-hearted twist. Great. As you exhale, bring your right fingertips down to the floor. And we're going to move between this pose and a hat Hanuman. So you could put your hands on blocks if you want. As you exhale, hip shift back, flex the foot. Inhale, bending knee over your ankle. The next time the knee comes into a bend, keep it there. Left hand's going to be on the floor, and we're going to turn back into the twist. This time we're going to go for optional quad stretch. So maybe the right hand comes back and holds the left ankle. Left heel pulls into the butt pushes back to the heel. Broaden the shoulders away from each other. Throat back, chin in. Be with a positive experience. Strengthen the neurons in your brain that can notice the good. Even if you have to think back to like that epic sunrise you saw a few days ago or something that had a powerful positive impact on you. Stay here or with your belly in. Straighten your right arm and then kick your left foot back into your right hand. It's like a little back bend as you kick your foot into your hand, and it'll pull you open just a little bit more. For some people, this hurts your back, so don't do it if it does. And then unwind, plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up to the sky. Hips open. Step your left foot forward between your hands. Come on up, lunge. Nice, hands on your hips for a moment. And just notice like the hip bones, where are they facing, and turn them to face forward. Sometimes we have a tendency of turning the hips to the right towards the back leg. The hips are forward, and then use your low belly strength to keep them forward. Open your arms up like a cactus, and from your belly button to your head, twist to the right, or left, excuse me. Notice how much you twist to the left, and then the right hip turns in. And then come back through center.
to the other direction. Come back through center. Go to the left. Bring your hands together. Right elbow hooks over left knee. Nice. That right shoulder should feel similar as when we were doing those down dog twists and lifting a leg, that like it's a supportive arm. You're pushing down through the whole humerus and the shoulder is integrated. And from there, you're lifting and opening the chest. Take your left hand to your hip, right fingertips comes down and wide. Right hip stays lifted, and then stretch your left arm open. Shoulders integrated, belly in, widen and open. Like you've just walked up a mountain and you've opened your eyes like the sound of music. Like, it's a good day. Feeling it today. Right, and then lower your back knee to the floor. Make any little adjustments that you need to, and then open up again, low lunge, hand down, twist. As you exhale, bring your left fingertips to the floor. And we'll begin to breathe and move between a bent leg and a front leg straight. Exhaling back into Ardha Hanuman. Inhale forward. All right, the next time the knee bends forward, keep it there. Right hand stays on the floor, moving into the optional quad stretch, or you can open into an open twist. For the first few breaths, right hip back, right heel into the hip, knee closed, shoulders open. And then possible kicking the back foot into the back hand, belly in. Right, and then plant your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Stand down dog or move through a vinyasa. And then either child's pose or brief seated meditation. If your mind takes you away from this moment, just notice. It doesn't change your worth or value at all. Just like, oh, I've left, let me come back. And shifting from this mode of doing to being. And let your awareness notice something that feels good about just being. Let yourself stay with that positive experience. We've been so conditioned that it's through doing and achieving that's positive, that our brain is so wired to like always need to do more, and it's never enough because we haven't associated as much like pleasure or worth with just the being.
Okay, let your eyes open. Come back to downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg up to the sky. Push through your hands, belly button to hands, stay steady. Open your hips to the right, maybe bend your right knee. Push the ball of the right foot towards the left wall. Then step your right foot forward between your hands, like a lunge, and then ground your back heel like we're going to come into warrior two, but not quite yet. So warrior two legs. Fingertips either frame the front foot or you can have both hands to the inside of the front leg. We're going to take the front leg from bent to straight a few times like we did in our low lunge. So as you exhale, straightening the front leg, and as you inhale, bending. Actually, I think I said that backwards. Inhale, straighten, exhale, bend. Warming up the different aspects of the hamstring. The next time the knee bends over the ankle, keep it there. Open the arms up, second warrior pose. Pushing equally through the front and back foot. Shoulders down, spine long, regal. As you inhale, reverse warrior, front knee stays over the ankle. Exhale, right elbow to right thigh, left arm reaches. One more round, inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, elbow to thigh or fingertips to floor. We're gonna stay in this Parsva Konasana for a few rounds of breath. Really nice, and then both hands come to the floor, swivel your right foot to the left, wide leg forward, fold. Shifting the weight forward and back, feeling how the weight lands on the feet and eventually settling into a place where the front of the foot and the back of the foot are equally weighted. With a little bend in your knees and avoiding the knees tipping in towards each other, see if you can spread your hips a little bit wider away from each other. Stretching the muscles between the hips and the femurs. And as you inhale, coming up onto straight arms up on your fingertips, and we're gonna bend into one leg at a time. So the hands will shift towards the left foot as you bend into the left knee, right leg stays straight. And then walk your hands more over towards the right foot, right leg bent, right knee bends, left leg straight. The next time you walk your hands towards the right foot, pivot your feet forward and step back downward facing dog. Either stay in down dog or move through a vinyasa. Notice before you make the decision if you just do your thing out of habit or if you ask your body what it needs. Wonderful. Inhale, left leg up to the sky. Maybe open the left hip, bend the knee, push out through the ball of the left foot. Push down through the right hand and keep your right armpit lifted, shoulders more squared. And then step your left foot forward between your hands. Second warrior pose prep, fingers stay on the floor. Firing up the muscles of the back leg, rooting the inner and outer edge of the right foot down, and then moving your front leg straight to bend.
The next time it's bent, keep it there. Open your arms up, second warrior pose. Nice, front knee wide, floating ribs in. And then back hand, right hand to your right hip, reverse warrior. Left thigh stays deep as the low belly lifts up and stretches. Come forward, front elbow to thigh. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, modified or full Parsvakonasana. Exhale, fingertips to the floor, left foot pivots to the right, wide leg forward fold. Active feet. Maybe turning your head to look at your feet and noticing if your inner arch is turning down. You want to push through the big toe mound and the inner heel mound so much that you see your arches lifting up. Inhale, straighten your arms. So option, you can either repeat what we just did, bending one leg at a time into modified Skandhasanas, or you can move into a full Skandhasana. So as you bend one knee deep, the heel lifts, and the front foot flexes up to the sky. Moving back and forth at your own rhythm. And then making your way back, downward facing dog. Stay in down dog or move through a vinyasa, or you could come up for a brief moment of meditation. Okay, last round of standing poses, downward facing dog. One of the things I really love about Dr. Hanson's work is it's not just positive thinking. It's not just like looking in the mirror and being like, I am happy, but like being really pissed off. It's like taking the happy moments that always exist. Like when I drink my coffee, that's a happy moment, but I never like think like, oh, I'm so happy drinking my coffee here. You have to like plant that in deep. Okay, inhale, right leg up to the sky. Exhale, step your right foot forward between your hands. Lower the left knee down to the floor. And then come on up, low lunge. So just to mess with your minds a little bit. So if you want to put a cushion down under your back knee, you can. We're going to practice stepping one foot at a time forward. So push through the left knee. See if you can lift the right foot up and bring the right knee down. And push the right knee down. This is that idea of like, well, it's easy to notice happiness when I can do the things I want to be able to do. But what happens if I do something I don't like, if my body doesn't perform the way I want? Can I still notice it? It's been a hard lesson recovering from my foot. Okay, then step your right foot forward. And we're gonna do a low lunge quad stretch. So you guys can decide if you wanna stay more upright
Or if you want to take a deeper low lunge with a hip shift forward in front of the left knee before you pull the back foot in. And take one or both hands back. Continuing this theme we've been working on of utilizing both of our feet. So noticing what front leg or back foot you're pushing into with more power. And can you push the opposite one down that hard as well? Nice, release your back foot. Fingertips frame the front foot. Lift up the left knee. Ground your back heel. We're going to prepare for Trikonasana. So maybe widening the stance. Front foot stretches straight. Right hand to the floor or a block inside or outside of the front leg. Left hand to your hip. Left hip draws back. Right glute engages, scoops under as you powerfully push down through the right foot. From there, open the chest to the left arm reaches up. And bring your awareness to the parts of your body that feel strong and powerful. This pose, we want strength, so engage the legs. And notice the parts of this pose that lets you feel more open and free. As you exhale, pivot your right foot in, wide leg forward fold. Bowing down, strong legs push into the feet, lift and widen the hips. If you can bow so far forward your head touches the floor, widen your feet. And as you inhale, straighten the arms. And then keep your right hand underneath your face on the floor or the block. Take your left hand to your low back, don't turn yet. Try to keep your low back mostly parallel. So if you had a cup of tea on your back, it wouldn't spill. And then pull your spine forward as you twist from your belly button to your head to the left. Stay here or stretch your left arm up to the sky. So you inhale, unwind, shift yourself forward, step back, downward facing dog or vinyasa. And then inhale, left foot up to the sky. Exhale, step the left foot forward between your hands, right knee grounds. Come up to standing on your knees. We'll do that balance practice, rooting down through the right foot knee and stepping the foot forward and back. Yeah, you guys are doing really well at that. And the next time the left foot comes forward, keep it there. Decide the length that you want in your stance. I'll move into the quad stretch. So you guys know I like to to celebrate the little cross-quarter holidays. So yesterday was Imbolc, which is, they consider it like the first quickening of spring. It's like, you can't really tell here because it's just barely started to snow, but it's like spring is coming. Like if you look in your garden, you can see like little greens just like barely coming, and it's this period of hope. Imbolc means, I think, like lamb's milk, like the sheep are and the animals are starting to produce milk for their babies that are to be coming. So it's this period of hope, which I really love. Okay, release the back foot, fingers to the floor, widen your stance, prepare for Trikonasana, maybe using a block. Before you open up, really plant yourself well. So feet are strong, right hip is back, left glute scoops under to help you push more into the front foot. From there, the spine can grow long and the arms can open. Really nice. Okay, and then pivot both of your feet to the right, wide leg forward fold. Powerful legs push down through the spine, and then inhale, stretch the spine forward. Left hand under the face or on a block, right hand comes to the hips, keeping the hips level, turn your chest to the right, maybe stretch your right arm up. My hips turn so much here, I have to actively think, hips turn a little to the left as my chest turns to the right. Let's inhale, unwind. Make your way back down to facing dog. And then bend your knees to the floor, seated meditation, brief. Imagine what your days would feel like, what your life would feel like if your body and your mind and your heart really remembered all of the good things that happened, that they weren't just rushed over or like so quickly let go of, you know what I mean? You know, the teachers say all of the stuff happens in the present moment. So if we're rushing forward into the future, reminiscing on the past, we miss those things. We also miss the ability to soak them in and let our like neurology remember them, remember those paths so that they can perform it more frequently. Catch your eyes open, shift your feet forward. Okay. So for this, turn your hips to face the left. This might not end us up straight on the mat. My practices lately have like just been all over. So hopefully you're on your mat. Okay, and I'm gonna do the windshield wiper a few more times. And then the next time both knees go to the right, keep them there. Okay, yeah, this is where we want to pivot. Now pivot yourself a little bit so the right thigh is parallel to the front of your yoga mat and both legs are at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so the first step to this is a modified pigeon. So we're going to bow over the right knee. So you can take your forearms in front of the right knee. To feel this a little bit more, draw the low belly in, draw the sitting bones back, especially your right sitting bone, and try to push your thighs away from each other. So creating more space in the pelvis, inner thighs back, pubic bone down and back. And keeping the legs like this, we're going to walk the forearms so we're facing the front of the yoga mat. Then there's two options here. So the first option, we're moving into a version of Bridgets Cross, is taking your right hand on the floor, kind of like chaturanga, stretching the left arm forward. I like to put my fingertips on the floor and keep my left arm up. Right hand pushes down to turn the belly towards the right as you stretch the left arm forward. You can stay here or you can straighten the left leg behind you. Try to come up onto the ball of the left foot, left heel up to the sky. That will stretch more of the IT band on the right side. Maybe straighten the right leg. You can stay here, or if you want a passive deltoid stretch, you can take your right arm forward and thread your left arm under, back of the hand on the floor, and kind of lay down on top of your left shoulder. I like to go forehead on the floor. I've been really liking that variation. Unmute if that doesn't make sense, so I can walk you through it again. And then slowly push yourself up. And we're going to turn to the left and come into a wide leg forward pose. So you should be sitting down on your butt, legs out to the side, facing the back left corner of your yoga mat, and then take a hinge forward. You could go hands on the floor. You could go hands behind you if that feels better. We're going to go forward folds here. Try to let your belly lead the way. So sit bones draw back, belly button comes forward, heart lengthens forward. And then walk your hands back up. Use your hands to grab your legs, pull them in, spin around on your butt to the other direction. And we'll do our windshield wipers again. So now we're facing the right side of the yoga mat. The next time the knees come to the right, keep them there. Reposition your situation so that your right, nope, that's your left thigh. Your left thigh is parallel to the front of your yoga mat. And then we're going to do our modified pigeon, laying down over the left knee. And from here, we're going to move towards that Bridgets Cross. So walking the hands forward, squaring off the chest with the front of the yoga mat. Remembering the two options are planting the left hand like chaturanga, right arm stretches forward on the fingertips. Maybe the legs extend. The legs don't have to extend. We're moving into that passive deltoid stretch. Left arm forward, right arm threads through, palm up. Bridget's Cross is named after this little symbol that people make with twigs or hay. that celebrates Brigitte or Bridie, who's often associated with Imbolc. And she's known for creating connection and bringing communities together and creating hope and healing. The 4 lines, so your arms and your legs, represent the 4 elements and these 4 different kind of conflicted cities that separated in this myth, and brings them all together with the spirit in the center. I think is pretty cool. So as you inhale, come back up. Push yourself back up to that wide leg, upright position. And we're going to bow sideways. So turn to your right leg, right fingertips on the outside of the right leg on the floor, hinge forward, left hand holds somewhere on the outer edge of the right leg, outer shin, outer knee, maybe outer foot, as you bow forward and fold. Really nice. Push yourself back up. We're going to stay over this right leg. This time we're going to do a side stretch. Bring your right hand inside of the right leg on your hand or your forearm. Stretch your left hand up to the sky or over your ear. Maybe grab onto your foot, whatever feels best to you for this open side stretch. Left hip keeps reaching down to the floor. Inhale, come back up. Fingertips on the floor, spine tall, eyes closed, sit and notice. Then second side, turning the chest to the left. Left hand stays on the outside of the left leg. Right hand holds onto a part of the left leg as you bow down over the left thigh. Then laying the belly, lead the way, then the chest, then the head. Right knee stays up to the sky, right toes up to the sky. So you inhale, walking yourself back up and preparing for your open twist. Left arm comes down in some way, right arm opens up, right shoulder curling up over the left shoulder, throat back. Staying open so you can notice the good instead of closing off around the bad and thinking that's all there is. Inhale, coming back up. Pulling the legs together, spinning yourself forward. And you can choose sort of do either a short meditation, silent upright, or lay back for Shavasana, and then we'll end with a short guided meditation. So choosing if you want to be up or down. Making yourself a little bit more comfortable if you can. Letting yourself rest in being. And notice if you've gripped onto anything. See if you can open up a little bit more, hold on to a little bit less, expand into your own being. And however much you're capable of doing that this morning, that's perfect for today. Let yourself feel how good it feels to be holding on to just a little less stress and to-dos and all of that stuff. And if you're laying on your back, make your way up to a seated meditation. And for these last few minutes of class, we're just going to practice having and staying with a positive experience. So the first one I want you to focus on is some positive experience you had during this class. And sometimes for me, I can't really put it into words, or it's not like a clear experience, like moment. It's just like a general experience. But it doesn't need to look any way. It just needs to conjure up a feeling of you of like, that's good or happy or positive. And see if you can stay with feeling that positive sensation for a few rounds of breath. And if it goes away, just bring it back. And practicing with your familiar faces is my positive experience. And now I want you to think about a positive experience that happened this past week. If you hear any beeps, draw in more. What's something that made you feel good this past week? Maybe it was company or an activity or nature or aha, food. Okay, and one more. This past year, what's something like really positive or slightly, depending on what you can pick, but what's something that good that came out of 2020 for you? And can you breathe into that? And bring your hands in front of your heart or on your heart. Cultivate the feeling of gratitude for yourself for showing up. I think it's even harder to show up for these online classes because there's so many things that can call from you at your house. Thank you so much for being here. It's so wonderful to connect with you all. Let's end with one Om. We'll do one full round of breath and then Om. Inhale deep. Exhale completely. Inhale. Namaste. Oh, yeah. Stop recording.